quickly demo how to uncollate a collated column with data. And I should mention that this is a manual process, so it's not something that comes with the report. When you download a report, you would have to do this every time that you wanted to see the collated information in separate columns. However, that being said, it's super simple. It'll probably take me about 10 seconds to do. So it's really, really easy and not burdensome in the least, in my opinion. Another thing I should mention just before I show you how it's done is that I'm using test data. So I went to chi.hhtech.io and I used those data reports to demo this process, just because, of course, I didn't want to use any PHI. But that being said, I do have some funky information in here, so things might look a little bit weird, but it will still get the point across, which is overall what the intent is. And lastly, if this wasn't clear before, I just wanted to also briefly touch on these numerical responses. So the numerical responses that you're seeing underneath question identifiers like school, marital status, children, etc. You can find the corresponding answer response in the data dictionary, which is also housed in the survey data exports section. And the data dictionary has all the data elements for the CHI surveys. So other examples of that would be survey name, survey versions, excuse me, question name, question text, and of course, as I just mentioned, answer text for all the CHI surveys. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to expand this a little bit, okay? And I'm going to add 2 blank columns, and the reason for that is because I'm going to separate this data into 3 columns. Column M will serve as city, column N will serve as state, and column O will serve as zip. Okay, so now I'm going to select column M, which has the collated data, and I'm going to navigate over to data and select the data tab, and from the data tab I'm going to find this text to columns function. I'm going to click on that, and this function is actually pretty neat. So Excel has noticed that we have delimited data, and what that means is that there are characters such as commas or tabs, which is mentioned here, separating fields. And so what it's offering to do is to separate the field based off of column using the characters that it's seeing in the collated column. Now, if that doesn't make sense, it's totally fine. Go ahead and just demo it for you. But this is a preview of the selected data, so again, everything is in one column. So I'm going to select delimited, make sure that's blue. I'm going to click on next. Now, in a data set, you can have a lot of different types of delimiters, so characters or punctuation. We don't have any of these, but what we do have is this other. So I'm just going to remove this just to show you again. This is a collated column, so all the information is jumbled together. I'm going to select other, and I'm going to select shift and the dash key, which also has the pipe character on top. And so I added the pipe character in here, and now as we can see, there are 3 separate columns separating out the information in what was once the collated column, which is exactly what we want to do. Great, so I'm going to click on next. This pop-up just allows you to format some of the column data, but I'm going to go ahead and just bypass that because I don't think it's really necessary. So I'm going to click on finish, and that's pretty much it. So what you can do just to maintain, a sense of what each column is you can add city here, state here, and then zip here. And now we have what was once a collated column of M separated into 3 columns with all of that information separated out. And this allows us to do additional filtering and sorting on each column or on, these 3 groups. And you can do that by just going to Home again, going to Filter and Sort, and Filter, for example, will allow you to filter by, let's just say, California. We want to see all of the participants who are living in California, which is probably all of them, because I think I entered California for all my test participants. But here we have all the participants that are living in California and in San Francisco. Yeah, so that was a brief demonstration on how to uncollate a collated column. You can do this for any of the columns that are here, so the info tab or any of the other ones, heart problems. So feel free to let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to discuss further, but that was a brief demo of how to uncollate. Thanks again.